Yo, what's going on, guys? And today, of course, we'll be talking about this Russell Westbrook news. Yes, Russell Westbrook heading to Cali, not to LA, not to Golden State, but to Sacramento. What do you guys think of this? Are you guys excited? And do you think this team that now might have a logjam at the forward position is going to benefit from bringing in someone like Mr. Russell Westbrook? So, in today's video, we'll talk about the fit of Russell Westbrook heading to Sac Town, Vivek Ranadivev, country of I don't know where I was going with that. Either way, it seems like Sacramento gets everybody spare parts or sloppy seconds or thirds. Now, we saw what Markelle Fultz did for them last year. I know Markelle Fultz was coming off a bum knee, but at this point, it's like you look. Mike Brown is a fantastic head coach, and he was ran out of town because you guys didn't give him defenders. And now you continue to have another solid defensive head coach who is not able to probably coach the defense that he wants because he's not going to have enough defenders on this team. So let's pull it up and let's talk about it. So, do you think Russell Westbrook might be the missing piece in Sacramento? Maybe it could have been 15 years ago, 10 years ago. I don't know. Could I be wrong? They have an interesting lineup. I know going into this offseason, we said they needed a point guard. How about the fact that they went out and got themselves Dennis Schroeder? Now, if they bring in Russell Westbrook, they'll have Dennis Schroeder, Russell Westbrook, and Devin Carter. Now, I think Devin Carter might be the best point guard out of those three. They have Malik Monk, who it seems like they were trying to dump, and nobody wanted him because of his contract at this point. So that kind of makes things interesting. And there's Zach LaVine, and there's also DeMar DeRozan, and then there's the fact that you have yourself a guy by the name of Domantas Sabonis, who's one of probably the top three passing big men along top four. Bam Adebayo, Alperen Şengün, Nikola Jokic being the best, and then of course Domantas Sabonis would be. I would say that's like the solid four right there. Now, Devin Carter, he had a pretty good summer. I feel fine with that. Dennis Schroeder had a good solid end of the year with the Pistons. He's streaky as all hell. You don't know what you're going to get with him. He's more of a two guard with point guard like skills. Devin Carter, you could say the same thing. So, Russell Westbrook. He's a guy who would be an energy guy off the bench. He can play defense. He can play on or off the ball at this point. I mean, the shot's very streaky. He's a veteran presence. But for a team that's had chaotic locker rooms, their locker rooms aren't the best. You're bringing in a big personality. And I like Russell Westbrook. I'm not trying to dish on what Russell Westbrook. I think he could be useful for a lot of teams. I don't know if Sacramento's the place where he wants to go, but there's a reported mutual interest between the two of them. And that it seems like it's about when the deal is going to be done and not if the deal is going to be done. So you might as well just be putting your Sacramento Russell Westbrook jerseys on because that seemingly is what's being reported is going to happen. And let's talk about his stats. Were the stats bad this past season? No, he showed flashes in Denver, okay? He had moments of thriving. He actually looked like he could be a six-man candidate. I mean, there's been years in the past where he's been a guy who looked like he could be a six-man of the year candidate, a guy who could be a part of a team that, obviously there were things, shortcomings, and what points of negative, but he's still a guy who can come in, run the second offense, get hot, be crazy, be a bull in a china shop, maybe occasionally get good from three, occasionally not be good from three, but there's room. All right, 13 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, or 5 rebounds, my apologies, and 1.5 steals. He shot just below league average from 3. There's good and bad. And if you're bringing him on a veteran minimum contract, I really don't think there's too much worry about, financially, this is a risk. There's no financial risk right here. I think it's more like, is this going to be good for your team's locker room? And if you look at the current Kings team, what is it? It's Zach LaVine, Malik Monk, Keegan Murray, DeMar DeRozan. I don't even know what we're expecting of Keegan Murray at this point. Keegan Murray's been told that they said he had more potential than Lauri Markkanen, and that's why they weren't trading him for Lauri Markkanen. Do you still believe that? Does the front office still believe it? It's not the same regime that was saying that. What does Scott Perry believe? And let me tell you, Scott Perry might have gotten himself Jalen Brunson, but you can't give him credit for building that Knicks team. That is all Leon Rose, baby. Now, Domantas Sabonis, Keegan Murray, DeMar DeRozan, Malik Monk, and Zach LaVine as a starting lineup. The only person who can play defense right there is Keegan Murray. Now, I love Nick Clifford. I love me some Nick Clifford. Darius Saric, Drew Eubanks, Keon Ellis, Dennis Schroeder, Russell Westbrook, Devin Carter, Terrence Davis, Doug McDermott, Isaac Jones, Maxime Renaud. I mean, half of those guys I like. Half of them I would have liked 5 years ago. Doug McDermott, Darius Saric. being mainly the two guys right there. Terrence Davis, I've interviewed him, and I think Terrence Davis is one of the coolest guys ever, and like was the first interview or the second interview I ever did for Hoops Hype. So there's a lot of love for me in Terrence Davis, but he's a guy who's came off a popped Achilles, and obviously he's not like what he once was. So to me, I just think you put in Russell Westbrook. He's competing for minutes with Keon Ellis, Dennis Schroeder, Terrence Davis, and Devin Carter, and I forward to back up Zach LaVine and Malik Monk hypothetically. And is that really going to give you anything better than a play-in appearance? Is that in a Western Conference that is more loaded? And I've said this before, the Sacramento Kings are where the Washington Wizards were a few years ago when they were trying to build from the middle of mediocrity, like they were with the Kyle Kuzma, Bradley Beal, Kristaps Porzingis duo. So if you were to bring Russell Westbrook at this point, he's a guy who brings intensity on defense, crashes the glass, can get hot on offense, will create extra possessions, but he still will put up some bad shots and will be a bit turnover prone and can be a negative at times, but he can still be a positive and be utilized correctly on the right team. And I thought we saw that with the Clippers and the Nuggets in the past 2 years, and it just seems like every time he leaves a place, they don't want him back. So if he came with the Kings, what is he going to do there? Yes, they already have a lot of shot creators, and Westbrook would probably be a backup who would play defense, set the tempo, and just be a change of pace guy who helps run the second unit. That is basically what I think. If they brought Russell Westbrook into the Kings, that would be his role. It wouldn't be anything too spectacular, but I think he could be useful. And if that's the case, so be it. But I find it hard that, look, if I'm the Sacramento Kings fan, I'm stoked that maybe I'm going to be able to see a guy that I had a lot of affinity for, someone that I might have enjoyed during his prime 10 years ago when he was on the Oklahoma City Thunder, or the stuff that he did for the Wizards like I did maybe 5 years ago. But it's not like we're sitting here and going to be like, oh, they're signing the guy who's going to make this team go from hopefuls to being the play-in to you should be scared that they're going to be a top 6 seed, baby. Because that's not real. That's not real, and that'd be lying to yourself. Not be lying to you. But what this does do is make this team have multiple perimeter defenders. Keon Ellis, Russell Westbrook now, Dennis Schroeder at times, Keegan Murray, and Neek Clifford. What? Keegan, Neek, Devin, Dennis, Russ. Gives you like 5 guys you can trust on defense. That's more than what they could say that they've had in years. Will they get playing time? Will Doug Christie be able to get them on the floor with DeMar DeRozan and Domantas Sabonis making it a bit hard spatially to make things work? But that's it. Organizationally wise, it's going to be interesting. But if this move does happen, I understand why. So let me know your guys' thoughts. That's it from me today, guys. Hope you guys enjoy. Ciao.